Hey, welcome back to the Lead Counsel Podcast. This is your host, Tom Tona. Before we jump into today's topic, I just want to take a moment to thank the sponsors of the podcast. This episode is sponsored by Tona Law. They're not just another law firm. They're defining what it means to fight for their clients. We get a lot of attorney referrals from across the country. We pay fee participation in all jurisdictions where it's permitted. We focus on integrity, innovation, and relentless advocacy. Tona Law is proving that the business of law can scale without losing its heart. Do you want to see how a modern firm is built for impact and happy client referrals? Check out tonalaw.com. Mention again the Lead Counsel Podcast, and I'm happy to get on the phone with you. Jen Talley. So Jen, talk about the importance of acquiring new skills and continuing education at this point, because selling is an art. Closing the sale, that's an art. The negotiations, which I know you a wheeler dealer. I think some of that was intrinsic. I've always known you and you've always been a wheeler dealer and a negotiator. But did you now start to acquire new skills and perfecting those skills in a more formalized way?
100%.
What have you done? What new skills have you focused on, and what classes have you taken to do that?
So real estate is you do your 77 hours or so, and then you have to continue your education. Within like 2 years, you have to do another maybe 22 hours. But my inbox emails are exploded with school and classes. There are thousands of classes and signups and networking and trips that you can go and be a part of a convention that's doing something that maybe you're interested in. So I went to what I was very familiar with, that was foreclosures, and I got into fix and flips. So fixing and flipping and having investors really, I kind of brought something to them. They put faith in me that I'm going to go and represent them at an auction. I'm going to win it. I'm going to get that house. And if there's people in it, I'm going to negotiate how to get them out. And then we're going to, get that house. I hire everyone. I'll get it all taken care of.
That's awesome. You are just such a powerhouse. I love it, man. I love it.
You got to not be afraid to get your hands dirty. And that was never me, but I'm always up to learn. I learn every day. I'll never, ever tell someone I know more than them.
But that's the growth mindset, right? And that's why you're a pro too. Like, the mark of a true high performer is that they're continuous lifelong learners. Right. And so, that's something one of my coaches said to me probably 20 years ago, 2 decades ago. Ryan McKeen.
I represented somebody one time who liked to pee where they weren't supposed to. So I go to the court. I go to court one day and they go, "Oh, you're here on the Wiener Wagger." And I go, "Oh boy." And then when I started doing personal injury cases, it was like, have I settled personal injury cases for $450? Absolutely, I have. There was a foreign object in a Burger King burger one time. But what I realized is, in order to make that transition to sort of who I could become or wanted to become, I needed to associate with people who are doing that thing. And so you have to start, if you're listening, right, understanding that whether it's trial work or business, there's nothing magical about the people who succeed at the highest levels of any of this. They come in all shapes and sizes. Some are slick, some are polished, some look like they're disheveled. There's every which thing. But what they all have in common is they're all incredibly curious. They're always learning. They're lifelong learners in what they're doing. They're always open to feedback. They're always around other people who are doing things. And what they're really trying to do is they're trying to find playbooks for this. And they're trying to execute on those playbooks. They're not trying to invent playbooks necessarily. It's about the execution of those things. So when I started taking on higher value PI cases, I was like, well, I've got these death cases. I want to do this kind of work. If I refer them out, I'm always going to be going to court for the Wiener Wagger. And so I said, you know what? I said, who are the top trial lawyers in my state? And it's people like Josh Koskoff. And I said, well, what do they do? Well, they seem to learn the reptile. So I started just going to Don Keenan down in Atlanta. Right. And that's where we started learning it and learning stuff from Andrew Finkelstein and learning stuff from the Nick Rowleys and Rick Friedmans of the world and taking it all in with the sort of, I don't know if it's like naive belief or ego or whatever you want to call it, that we too could do it if we learned and were committed. It's not easy, but it's doable.
anybody that's looking to, and I was listening to a podcast with John Ustall, who's a 9-figure hitter. This dude is one of the most major trial lawyers ever. I was listening to him on a podcast recently, and he said, you want to be a trial lawyer at a law school? No problem. Here's the secret. 10 years of really hard work. And so if you have an entrepreneurial seizure, you want to be a law firm owner, don't do it in the first 10 years. I don't think, at least in the first 5 years, I don't think you'll have the foundational skills to compete, right? And that is, you need to be an excellent lawyer first. Before I opened my law firm, I already could originate millions of dollars in business. I had taken verdicts as a personal injury lawyer. I knew what I was doing. Deep knowledge in the areas of law that I would then eventually build a law firm into. So how is somebody coming out of law school with no experience in any area of law going to compete in the marketplace against law firms with people at the helm like me? Like, it's not going to happen. And they're going to start out at a disadvantage. And that's the other thing people are selling. Don't work for anybody else. Open your own law firm. Be an expert first. You're going to go into personal injury? Try cases. I'm not saying you got to be the best trial lawyer. Maybe you never want to try cases, but you want to own a business where trials occur. So the only way to do any of this is to become an expert. So I was thinking about John's statement of, look, it's not easy. You want to do it? It takes hard work for 10 years to be at the level he's at trying cases. Be a great lawyer, because the clients at the end of the day, they don't care that I'm a good businessman. They take for granted that my business runs like a real business. They don't care about my systems. They don't care about my infrastructure. They're not aware of our core values. They just know that we have a special something, right? Mm-hmm. All they really care about is that we're bent on getting them results. If you focus on being the expert, being a great lawyer is great for business. It's great business. And it's great for business, meaning it's highly profitable, you make good money, and it's repeatable business. It's good marketing, because when you make people feel seen and heard for what they want, and you communicate with them about what's in their best interest, and then you work to get them what's in their best interest, they feel loved and they tell people about that. They become your raving fans. Quick break to thank the sponsors of the podcast. This episode is supported by Tona Law, a modern law firm built on integrity and innovation. Learn how they're changing the game at tonalaw.com. Attorney referrals accepted from across the country. You'll see what it's like when you send us a case. You'll have some happy clients. Building connections is one of the top things you need to do. Stop treating people transactionally. Don't worry about what's in it for you, and trust the process. People have to stop being so myopic in the worldview of, I can only learn in my lane. If you put me in a room full, and I'm actually in a new networking group where I'm one of the only lawyers there. Out of 100 people, one, I get a tremendous amount of business out of it, but I learn how other people are doing it. Business is business. Sales is sales, regardless of what you're selling, right? I really give you a lot of props for that, dude, because I think that guys like you, ladies like you, that go outside their lane and they're like, I just want to learn. Right. That's when the needle gets moved in your area of practice. You learn best practices for balancing boutique versus volume. My number one hack and how I basically have, kind of networked and marketed, which is being genuinely curious about the people that you're talking to. A while back, I remember attending a mastermind, and I got to give credit to Craig Goldenfarb. And he said to approach every conversation just with genuine curiosity. Anything else is transactional. You're looking to get something out of it. And people know that. They pick up on it, right? People know when you're talking to them and it's transactional or genuinely caring, right? Or curious. I will tell you something that I've observed personally when people are trying to sell me, and I know they don't care. They're not even looking at me. They're looking almost through me. You go to conferences and they want a heavy sell. They're not even focused on you. They're focused on the room and who else they could be selling at the time. So they want to do a quick sale, quick conversation. I'm like, this is not the way to do this, right? Genuine caring means you're connecting with a person, right? Genuine curiosity is getting to know somebody and not talking through them, not scanning the room to see if there's somebody better or bigger. And we've all had that experience. You're at a wedding and somebody's looking to see if there's somebody more popular or famous there or richer. And like, hey man, are we having a conversation? Or you like go walk around the room? You don't have to talk to me. It was a pivotal conversation with Craig Goldenfarb where he was like, you're approaching a conversation with an agenda. Don't have an agenda. Go out to every lunch, every dinner, every breakfast you go to, just curious about the person you're meeting. Mm-hmm. Look, you're a lawyer. Most of the people listening to this are a lawyer, or you're in a service-based business.
Yep.
Go out and listen, because you're always going to be able to provide value for other business owners in marketing based upon your skill set, right? And so it's the same thing with the law. All I have to do is be curious. People always have questions of doctors, lawyers, businessmen. So just be curious and asking good questions, active listening, eye contact. Stop being so transactional. Everybody's so transactional. I'll compare and contrast, right? One day, 2 phone calls, right? First phone call, spend an hour on the phone with a trial attorney. Guy was the nicest guy, knew his stuff. And he said, man, I can't tell you how much I value the stuff you put out for free. Again, he's my age and he's like, it's tremendous value. Like you putting it all out there. What worked for you? What didn't work for you? And he's like, so what do you think that I should do? And I said, this, and this is how I would do it. It's free. It's not free, but low cost marketing, highly effective. This is what I would do. Another guy pings me on LinkedIn and says, hey, I got to ask you a quick question about recruiting. Talking to him. He says, so what do you think I should do? And before I even get the answer, he's like, so this is what I do. And this is why it's so good that I'm never going to change it. So like he ties me up on a call for like 45 minutes. And I'm like, okay, I don't like having these conversations. And I'll give you a perfect example. I had a friend. This friend's life was always in turmoil. He had some issues, really deep issues, right, Jules? And he was always in Michigas. He would call me all the time. I need advice. So, okay, I'll give you advice. First time he did it to me, it was like a 2-hour conversation. I was exhausted. And he's like, yeah, that. I'm not doing any of that. And I'm like, okay, you are an asshole. And an asshole is somebody that will drain your time, drain your energy, drain your resources with no intention of following through on the advice that you have spent years, millions of dollars and blood, sweat, and tears and time on acquiring that knowledge. But they just want to hear themselves talk. They're going to tell you why the advice you gave them won't work, why their current thing is better than what you're doing, despite the fact that they're in shambles. You know, so compare and contrast. Like the one guy, I'm going to book a lunch with him. I'm excited to have lunch with this trial attorney. He was a great guy. I really enjoyed him. He's got an admirable skill set. And as I often finish up the calls, somebody will be like, what can I do to say thanks? Right? Unless you're an asshole and then you never care about what you can do to say thanks. But my answer is always the same at this point. Don't send cookies. Don't send me anything. Just execute on it, right? Jen Talley, talk about the importance of networking within your current career.
It's extremely important since most of us, and with AI, with the Facebook, Instagram, all the different social media accounts, everybody's on it. They're on it during their lunch. They're on it when they get home. So I'm using mine now, which has changed a lot, to gain the followers. And I've gained followers through the advertising. So when I post an ad, but the branding is so important because it reminds my audience what I do. So it's not so much, I mean, you might see pictures of my kids or my family, or maybe, you know, last night I made pizza, you know, just to kind of make like I'm a real person. But, and
you're a real person, all right.
But you want to keep them in the loop and remind them that this is what I do. I sell real estate and I have this going and that going. And so it's not to like just brag. It has nothing to do with other than I'm showcasing. I actually market through all my groups. I'm in about 700 groups across the whole state. Yes, I join groups. I join moms groups. I join, you know, community commerce, anything.
Do you get business from that stuff? You getting business from it?
I can sell most of my listings and through I mean, I had builder in North Carolina.
You're killing me right now, Jen Talley.
I have a listing in North Carolina. I just was doing it for him. I'm not licensed there.
Right.
But with all my social networking groups, I actually have other agents across the country that we will refer each other. So we keep those relationships too, because because that's important. My clients that are moving out of state, I want to send them to somebody that's got a good reputation. So networking, all that stuff, social media, I do it. I mean, I'm on it all the time. And it's really just because I am constantly having conversations. I see somebody post something for rents. I can tell if it's an agent or if it's the homeowner, landlord. And that's where I need to get myself to. And I got a lot of listings that way. And I've been very clever with doing it. I'm also very comfortable in my own skin. That means I can go places all by myself. And I don't need to engage. I can actually turn it on or turn it off, depending upon, but I am comfortable. So I can be approachable. And then I also can represent, I want to be like my solitude.
I talk about it all the time. Self-awareness is a superpower. People that are ultimately self-aware at the highest level, they're super relaxed, right? They're not selling. They're just basically come to me if you want to come to me, talk to me if you want to talk to me. And there's no artificialness to it, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that even comes across on social media. I think that what you see is what you get with me, you, Jules. And I think that, I wish a lot of younger attorneys understood the power of networking because, relationships, it's all about the relationships and people don't want to interact with artificial. People don't want to even interact with a company brand. They don't want to interact with Tona Law. They'll like a post here and there, but what they do want to interact with is me, Jules, you online. Jen Gore, you've done some pretty intensely accelerated growth of your firm, just seeing that you have those accolades, right? I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm so lucky and blessed that I have had some of the best mentors in the industry. I just force them to be my mentors.
I like that.
I was like, hi. I think one of them, I was just like, hi, you're my new mentor. And, I really do think that works well. I love to study other people and see other people that I think are successful and try to replicate what they're doing and put my own spin on it. But I would not be where I am now. I mean, the second year I was in business, I went and got business coaching. And, I have no problem being like, I don't know anything. I need to learn and put the ego to the side. Like, I just want to get better. And it's also really important to surround yourself by people who are doing more than you, who are, more profitable, have more stable teams, because they will inspire you. And in the difficult times, you'll be like, it's possible because this person's doing it,
Yeah.
So I always try to, the other thing is you kind of have to sometimes, like what gets you to one level is not what takes you to the next level. So you might be in a business coaching program that's working really well. And then like you kind of get to the end of it and it's no longer making you challenged. And then you have to be able to say goodbye and walk away to go to the next thing. And that's also hard. Business is relationships. Go to the spaces where people aren't going. Don't always do the obvious thing. You want to be mentored, which is the greatest hack in the world, is to find people who have already done what you're trying to do. Be absolutely humble. I try to always provide value to my mentors, whether I can connect them with somebody that they want to be connected with, or I don't waste their time. Like if they tell me you should do something, I don't, ignore that advice and then come back with the same question. Like it really annoys people if they give you their time and then you just throw their advice out.
Yeah. Or you fight with them as to why they're wrong after you ask for the advice. Right? I call those people assholes. Thank you for listening to this episode of Lead Counsel Podcast. Your host, Tom Tona. Go anywhere podcasts are distributed. Follow us. Leave us a 10-star review. Share some episodes with your friends. And thanks for listening. I appreciate it. Thank you. This episode is sponsored by Tona Law. They're not just another law firm. They're defining what it means to fight for their clients. We get a lot of attorney referrals from across the country. We pay fee participation in all jurisdictions where it's permitted. We focus on integrity, innovation, and relentless advocacy. Tona Law is proving that the business of the law can scale without losing its heart. If you want to see how a modern firm is built for impact and happy client referrals, check out tonalaw.com. Mention again the Lead Counsel Podcast, and I'm happy to get on the phone with you.